Siddiqui. We are getting some breaking news at the moment, and this concerns the politics and the political conundrum in Maharashtra. Now we are given to understand that the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena has moved the Supreme Court. Sunil Prabhu has filed a petition before the Supreme Court of India, and he has alleged that the Speaker did not decide on the disqualification petition in a stipulated time. Now remember, there are two disqualification petitions that the Speaker was supposed to be looking at. The recent one is from the NCP Sharad Pawar faction, but this petition has been filed by Sunil Prabhu of the Uddhav faction of the Shiv Sena, and they are talking about of the disqualification of the Shinde faction of the MLAs. And now that the petition is before the Supreme Court, he has alleged in that plea that the Speaker in the Maharashtra Assembly did not decide on the disqualification petition in a stipulated time. The allegation also politically is that the Speaker is having a BJP leaning, and that's why this sort of stalling exercise has been done by the Speaker. Let me actually take this across to my legal correspondent Ananya, who will offer more perspective on what this plea really entails. Ananya, what does the plea really say? Sunil Prabhu alleging that the Speaker did not decide on the disqualification in stipulated time, but how will this next plea, as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, be helping the Uddhav faction of the Shiv Sena in any way?
Well, we have to remember that the Maharashtra politics is going through a climax situation at this point of time. It seems like a Bollywood thriller. But what has happened at this point of time is that Sunil Prabhu, who's a member of, in fact, the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena, the new party of the Uddhav camp, has now knocked the doors of the Supreme Court, saying that, in the May 11 judgment, when the Supreme Court had said that, it cannot reinstate Uddhav Thackeray, but it had given a clear direction to, in fact, the Maharashtra Speaker to actually decide on the disqualification petition of those MLAs who were, in fact, disqualified, and that disqualification was put under contention, who had changed their side. So now, Sunil Prabhu have moved the Supreme Court, saying that, the Speaker was said that you decide this in a reasonable time. But Speaker, at this point of time, until this point of time, it's already July, it's more than 2 months now, that the Speaker has not decided on those disqualification petition, and the same should be done. It has also been said by, in fact, Sunil Prabhu in his petition, that this is a clear and stark violation of, in fact, the judgment of the topmost court of the country. So how will this play up before the topmost court of the country, whether it will be mentioned urgently or not? It is something that is a matter of time. We'll have to wait for that, and we still have to access the full copy of this petition. But as of what we know, it has been stated that, Sunil Prabhu has stated that there is a stark violation of the Supreme Court judgment, and in fact, the Speaker has not taken any kind of step. How would it play up for the Maharashtra politics, whether the Supreme Court would be giving a clear direction or would be itself disqualifying, these MLAs, is something that we'll have to wait and watch for, whether or not a disqualification to these MLAs would be offered. Because remember that at this point of time, the Speaker of the Maharashtra Assembly remains to be Rahul Narvekar, who is from the Eknath Shinde camp. So whether or not the disqualification takes place, whether the Speaker would decide on this disqualification proceedings or not, is something that we'll have to wait and watch for. And how this plays up before the court is also something that is a matter of time. We'll get to know when the matter actually comes up before the topmost court of the country and is dealt by the judges of the Supreme Court.
Okay. Yeah. Ananya, I request you to stay on with us. We are also now joined by our colleague Vinaya Deshpande, who is live with us on the broadcast as well. Vinaya, I'd like to understand this one aspect. As far as the May 11 judgment of the Supreme Court is concerned, they had clearly mentioned that the government at the time erred in calling in for a floor test, and Uddhav Thackeray resigning even before that floor test could have happened. That really actually called in for the downfall of the Uddhav faction, and that's why the judgment did not really go in his favor. How is this particular plea that has now been filed in the Supreme Court by Mr. Prabhu going to be helping the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena?
Well, Griha, if we try to see what the Speaker has to say about this, as per the Speaker's account, this may not really mean much. See, despite all those scathing observations that the Supreme Court made in that judgment, it had also said that this ball is in the Speaker's court, and that the Speaker should take a call on this in reasonable time frame. Now, what is the definition of reasonable time frame? That is the difference of opinion because of which Sunil Prabhu has moved the Supreme Court, because from the beginning it was Sunil Prabhu's and Shiv Sena UBT's say that the framework for reasonable time frame was 3 months because they were relying on the Nabia-Rebum case and the verdict thereafter. But the Speaker has time again said that when it comes to reasonable time frame, there is no specific time frame that is binding on the Speaker. He will still have to conduct his own inquiry, which is independent of the inquiries conducted by other bodies, including the Election Commission, and thereafter come to the conclusion, and that is going to be a time-consuming process. So, you know, even after this, there will again be a debate about whether the judiciary will have the right to infringe upon, you know, the rights of the Speaker to decide on this. But this is a classic case of difference of interpretation of that judgment. While Uddhav Thackeray group has consistently maintained for all these 2 months that they understand the judgment as reasonable time frame to be 3 months, and since 2 months have already lapsed and no action has been taken, they want the Supreme Court's verdict to be followed to the T. The Speaker, I spoke to him just a few days ago, in fact, and we were discussing about the same issue.
I'm really sorry.
He said that